Hey everybody, it's REALISM here, back with another mod review. So I'll be uploading this video on Christmas and it's almost 2024. I wanted to put together a list of my favorite mods of 2023. And this isn't necessarily like mods that were released in 2023, but it is mods that I think are must-haves going forward and just like my favorite of the year. I have 8 mods here, 4 of which are I think like more foundational and then 4 that are more like fun. So the first one I want to go over is called MC Command Center, and this is again very foundational mod. I'm sure that many simmers have heard of it, but in case you are just starting out in modding your game, this is an absolute must-have mod in my opinion, just because of how much functionality it has. So I'm not gonna do like a full in-depth tutorial. I have played around with MC Command Center a lot. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys want like a full-on MC Command Center tutorial. But just as like an overview, this is a way to control your game. You can control things as large as story progression, as large as age ranges. For example, like right now, I have aging turned off right now, but if I had aging turned on, like there's a certain number of days that Serena would have before she turns into an adult. You can change how long each life stage lasts with MC Command Center. You can get that in depth. There's little things you can toggle on and off. Via the computer, for example, you can change interaction autonomy. You can turn off autonomous proposals. You can turn them on. You can turn off autonomous mean interactions. I remember like a little bit ago, there was a bug going around where Sims were just being mean to each other for no reason. And I used MC Command Center to just turn that off because it was ruining my stories. One thing that I really like to do is allow multiple BFFs. You can even have friendly stay the night. You can friendly ask of single, because in my opinion, realistically, that is kind of a friendly thing to ask. You can stop random flirting. Like there's so many like little things you can do with this mod that just make it an absolute must-have. You can actually copy and paste different outfit categories. For example, I could just copy Serena's makeup now and paste it to all of her outfits. Like I know that's an absolute game changer for some simmers who get, including myself, who get really annoyed with having to do the makeup on every single outfit. If you guys want a more in-depth tutorial of MC Command Center, definitely let me know in the comments down below. I'd be happy to record a full video on it, but this is just like a quick little overview of all the amazing functionality of this mod. The next mod I want to touch on is called the UI cheats mod. Again, it's a very like common mod. This is more like for beginner simmers. If you guys want like a really easy way to quickly help your sims, or even for storytelling purposes, it's a really good mod to have. Because for example, right now Serena's energy is really low. I can left click on her energy bar and just click it right on up. If you need an easy way to get rid of moodlets, for example, this is how you can do it. Right now, Juniper has dry skin. If I right click on that moodlet, it's gone. If you are a more storytelling simmer and you're trying to like put together a scene or something like that, it's a really easy way to control different aspects of your game in order to get it to be perfect. Like one really cool thing you can do is actually change the season. You can change the weather. You can set the game time, like jump forward. It's really cool. And note that I'm pretty sure there's cheats for all of these things, like through the actual cheat bar. I know like from firsthand experience, before I had the UI cheats mod, it just added so much time in real life to my process when I was trying to like put together a storyline or something. Like it just took so much time to like look up the cheat and type it in completely perfectly, because if you type it in with an extra space, it's not gonna work. You know, it's like little things like that that just add to the experience of the game that make the UI cheats mod an absolute must-have. Next, as you guys can probably tell, I do have the dark mode UI installed. I freaking love this mod. I know people have been talking about it, I feel like a lot more lately, but it has been a thing for a while. And if you guys like dark mode in your life, then this is an absolute must-have. I know most people tend to use dark mode on their phones and on their laptops and everything, like I personally do. I honestly think it makes the game a lot easier to look at. So there's like 2 different downloads that you can use. One is a lot more customizable than the other. I personally downloaded the not very customizable one just because I didn't feel like doing it. You can also get like a dark mode loading screen and all this kind of stuff. And what I think is really cool, and I actually might switch to it instead of the dark mode UI, they have like different colors. So they have a pink UI, for example, and I like pink is my absolute favorite color. So I personally am probably gonna download that, and I'll definitely have this dark mode UI as well as some of the other like color presets that I find if you guys want like the pink mode UI or like whatever other colors they have. I think that's a really cute touch by the creators to have made other colors to make your game even more customizable and even more yours. The last kind of basic foundational mod I want to go over is called Pose Player. This is really huge for like my storytelling simmers or anybody like that. So Pose Player is basically a mod where you can pose your sims and take really cute screenshots. And I just pulled out this statue, and when you place this and click on it, what you can do is teleport any sim right to that location and get them exactly where you want it. I will say like that only works like on grid, right? Like you can't go place it in a place that's non-buildable, if that makes sense. So there is a little bit of a limit to that functionality. I'm just gonna place down 2 of these. And what the teleporter is really good for is you can actually get like couples poses and stuff like that. And so by clicking on the sim, you can navigate to the pose by pack, which is usually what I use. And then I'll have Serena do the female version of the first pose. And then we'll have Juniper do the male version of the first pose. And then if we unpause it, they'll both basically snap to it. That Pose Player is really good for poses like that. But if you want your sim to be in a specific location that's off the grid, like say down here, then you're gonna have to kind of pose them manually. But as I showed you guys just now with like having them do this pose, it's a really easy way to get really cute screenshots of your sims doing things that just like aren't in game. Like you can take really nice screenshots. Like I said, for storytelling simmers, this is really a must-have. And in addition to having the teleporter and like the actual Pose Player link down below, I am going to link down my favorite master list of poses on Tumblr. You can like filter by so many different things. Like you can filter by the number of sims, the age of the sims, like the story context. There's so many filters you can use to get to the poses you want. So I'm gonna link that down below if any of you have trouble like finding the poses that you need for your story. Oh, and to get them to stop posing, click on them. So there's like a little interaction here to stop posing. Or if you have control of the sim, you just like you can unclick the action. It's very easy. And so now we're getting more into like fun mods that make your gameplay a little bit more spicy. And the first one I want to go over is Wicked or Wonderful Whims. So Wicked and Wonderful Whims are like 2 different versions of basically the same mod. I currently have Wicked Whims installed. I'm probably gonna switch back to Wonderful Whims because a big part of Wicked Whims is the animations that it adds for woohoo. It does a lot more than that. So for example, if I click on Serena, like I get this entire settings thing where you can see what the settings of this mod are. So, and a lot of them are in both Wonderful and Wicked Whims, but Wonderful Whims is basically like the PG version of Wicked Whims, or maybe like PG-13. Like, so with Wonderful Whims, you would get the menstrual cycle. I'm pretty sure you get crab lice, and you also get attractiveness. I think you also might get impressions, and I'll have these linked down below so you guys can check out the features of each of them as well. But with Wicked Whims, you also get like the woohoo interaction. You get window peeping. If you guys have seen like Peeping Tom in The Sims, like that's from this mod. Like there's a lot more mature stuff with Wicked Whims that maybe you don't want in your game, and in that case, if you still want like some of the stuff like the menstrual cycle and crab lice and the attractive, like frankly my favorite part of the mod is the attractiveness thing, because like we perceive Josh very attractive but we see Brent as basic looking. Like I just really like that extra dimension it adds to relationships personally. Like I think it adds a little bit more spice to the relationship system in The Sims. Definitely check out Wicked and or Wonderful Whims down below based on what level of maturity you want in your game. game. Speaking of mature mods, another mod that I think is an absolute must-have just to add a little bit more spice, a little bit more realism in your game is called basemental. And they have both an alcohol and a drugs version of this mod. So again, it's kind of like different levels of what you find acceptable and what you might want in your game. The alcohol mod only adds interactions and moodlets specific to alcohol, whereas the drugs mod adds them for the other things. Like for example, in city living, we have the bubble blower. So the basemental mod will add moodlets and like interactions with the bubble blower that are more like realistic. And the reason I really like it is that sometimes they are things that people will do in real life. So I think that sometimes for storyline purposes, it's really useful to have them in game. One thing that I think is really cool is just the amount of different custom functional objects that comes with basemental. So if I search basemental, this isn't even all of them, but you get so many different objects here that you can use. Oh, what's this? I get the what the interaction. Oh my god, it made her mad. Serena just found this. She needs to find out who this belongs to, as it sure as hell is not hers. And she's also furious from finding it. She's livid because she found it in her house and she knows it's not hers. So this is a really cool like storyline aspect that you can add to your games. For example, if you want a little bit more realism in like family dynamics or something like that, it adds more realistic family interactions wherein the parents might actually get angry about it. So that's something I really enjoy about this mod. I'm not gonna show off every specific aspect of the basemental mod here because it is a more mature mod and I don't want to like trigger anyone. Like I said, I am gonna have it linked down below so you guys can read through it and check it out. Next, I really want to go over the FD Sims Give Me Some Talent mod, and I have a full like review of this on my channel where you can like see more about like specific gameplay aspects of it. But basically what I really like about it is it gives your Sims different traits that determine how fast or how slow they will learn skills. So for example, Serena's good at rocket science, extremely bad at pet training, and bad at video gaming. So that means her pet training skill goes up super slowly. Her rocket science skill goes up kind of fast, and her video gaming skill goes down kind of slow. Like it actually truly affects how fast your Sims learn skills. Again, another element of realism to your game where Sims aren't going to be as good at the same things all the time. Like that's a very realistic thing that I think is cool. It adds a dimension to your game that isn't already there. Another really cool thing is that the cheats menu, if you shift click on your Sim, is really accessible and really easy to use. So you can very easily remove the traits, you can randomize them, and you can like give them specific trait modifier if you want to. If you want to have a specific storyline, it's really easy to get that with the cheats menu that comes with this mod. Lastly, I want to go over the relationship / pregnancy overhaul mod. So this mod, I think I originally got it a few years ago when there was only like one pack that came with it. Now there's like 10 or 15 or something. Like it's expanded so much over the time that I have seen it, and it's just such an amazing mod. And I think why I got it specifically is because it added this trait to your Sims. So right now Serena would be happy to have a child, but it can also add traits like neutral to having a child or does not want a child right now. If we click on Serena, one of our options is relationships, family, and pregnancy, and that's from this mod. And what you can do is actually set thoughts on having children. So you could do would be happy to have one, which is what we are, neutral, or does not want a child right now. Or you can even do let fate and time decide, and it actually like it might change over time. I'm pretty sure these are like dependent on traits. So these are a bunch of the mod packs. It adds some more for adoption, insemination and surrogacy, jealousy and infidelity. You can have pregnancy and family. That's kind of what I just touched on. Oh, we also have this new thing that's thoughts on being pregnant. It's not new. I think they've had it for a while, but I've never actually seen this before. You can do okay with being pregnant or not okay with being pregnant, which is again just such a realistic thing. It's so freaking cool. Then you can do reproductive health. This is where you can do things like fertility, birth control, things like that. Romances and and friendships. You can do a gender preference, turn on and turn offs. It also comes with a meet and mingle like dating app, which I really like. I've used it quite a bit in one of my LPs, so I really like it. And I think it kind of goes hand in hand with jealousy and infidelity. And we also have Woohoo Health. You can get WTDs, which is Woohoo transmitted diseases. You can also like cheat it if you want. Like you can give your sim or remove one from your sim, like with the cheats menu. Again, just super accessible, which is always nice to see. And then we have Woohoo Light, like gender preference, Woohoo Style. I've actually never played around with this. Like again, comment down below if you want like a more in-depth review of this part of the mod, because I've never actually played around with it and that looks really interesting to me. If you check their RPO status, you can see all this stuff about the sim right at this second. So right now, Serena wants children, her fertility is 26% and her loss chance is low. But you can also modify all of that through that menu. And through global settings, you have like, you can turn on and off different aspects of the mod. So you can make all sims happy to have a baby by default. You can set cyclical fertility, so they'll have their fertility set on a cycle. That's kind of cool. They have a birth control failure rate, which is again very realistic. You can get UTIs and yeast infections, but you can also toggle that off if you want. Pregnancy tweaks are really cool when you don't want to know sometimes. Like if you have like risky woohoo on or something, vanilla game will basically give it away if your sim is pregnant. Like everybody knows when your sim is pregnant because of these different things, like the throw up and the pregnant animation, for example. I've actually never seen this cryptic pregnancy thing. If on, sims will occasionally get cryptic pregnancies, show no belly or other symptoms, and does not become noticed or symptomatic until nearly the end. So cool. I've never seen it in game. I will say that the rate of that happening might be really low, but again, it's just like little tweaks to make it more realistic. And yeah, there's like way more that you can turn on and off here based on like your specific preferences with this mod. Like if you're getting a mod like this, or even like Wicked Whims or Wonderful Whims, or like one of these mods that may seem really overwhelming at first, like they change so much about your game, don't worry, because these cheat menus are very easy to use and very accessible. So don't be like too alarmed or overwhelmed by just how big these mods are. So as I said at the start of this is not necessarily mods that were like created in 2023, but they are absolute must-haves for me. There are a few more that I wanted to include, but I didn't want it to get like too overwhelming. So if you guys want a part 2 to this, I'd love to make one and showcase some more of the mods I have in my game. And like I've said, if you guys want any like more in-depth tutorials of any of the mods I mentioned here, let me know. I'd be happy to create some. For now, thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, comment anything you want down below. I love it when you guys comment and I read all of them. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel and I'd love for you guys to stick around, and I will see you later. Bye guys.